Hello, and welcome to episode number 56 of Just Shillin'. I am one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I am your other host, Andy Bell. How you doing, Sean?
Oh, buddy, I am glad to be home. I'm back in home. I'm back home.
Excellent.
I didn't get sick, even though everybody else seems to be getting sick. So I'm thanking whoever's looking over me right now to.
You've dodged that bullet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely out of the way because we did get a surprise notification a couple days ago that Madison's dad and some friends are coming out for like an extended weekend. And so that means we're going to be out doing social things and visiting people who are also traveling. And so, yeah, I haven't dodged that bullet just yet. I got a couple more days to see if I can, like, dodge
You
him.
have done a lot this month so far. You have done a lot, and it's only running halfway through the month, but you've been pretty full on.
It's been a busy year, and it just kind of keeps adding up.
For sure. Well, contrary.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say,
go ahead.
Contrary to that, it's been really quiet for me this week. Really, really quiet the last week. There's not a lot going on. Treatment's kind of taking a back seat while I get over a few of these after effects at the moment. So it's been a really, really quiet week, which has meant I don't have an awful lot to talk about. But I have picked up a few things that I'm sure we can talk about later. Sorry, I rudely interrupted, and you hadn't finished your week, man.
No worries. I forgot to turn off notifications, so like it like jolted me out. I got like a ding really loud in my ear, and I was like, what is that? And so I gave space, and you jumped in and took it, rightfully so. I do have a couple things going on this week that I think are interesting. I've been, like you said, I've been crazy busy. We're home again. But the first thing I did or not the first thing because I couldn't because we got back at midnight. But one of the first things that I did once it became daylight was I went to the post office to pick up a package that one Mr. Andy Bell sent my way.
Dang.
Which that's a whole story in itself of just, hey, shout out to all the people who work for USPS that I got to deal with, because the way it was shipped, they shouldn't have held it at the post office. They were going to ship it right back, but lots of pulling of strings and people kind of jumping in to help. They held it while we were gone, and I was able to pick it up when I got back. So shout out to all of them. That was very stressful, but they helped. Thanks USPS. But inside of said box were some gifts that I would love. First of all, thank you, buddy. I was going to message you before this, but I wanted to put it on the pod. And be like, dude, sweet. Thank you for the box. Thank you for the gifts. I have so the first item is my giant enter key. It's currently plugged into my computer, so I can't pull it too far, but you can see it. I took it into Madison's office yesterday and had to plug it into her computer, and we got a video of her smashing it. And a cat, she has like a cat bed that sits attached to the desk, and it scared the crap out of Scoop when she smashed her fist into it and pressed enter just once.
It's the collection of silly birthday presents and silly Christmas presents that I'd kind of collected for you and was hoping to give you when I was in Tokyo. Now that's not happening. It made sense to ship it out to you. But that particular item, I saw it and I had to buy it because I actually saw it in a store and I had to buy it immediately because it's like that's just Sean all over.
Yeah, anybody who knows me well knows that I believe that the world needs more silly shit. Like, we just all need a little bit more silliness in our life. And this is my enter key that is the size of a shoe, is a boot, is fantastic. I love it a lot. I did also get, you sent along a holiday Star Wars Black Series. I don't have that in here because I packed it away with the rest of the Christmas stuff yesterday, but I did get a picture and I will post it on the internet. And then I got just for reviewing for people. I did keep the rest of it here. I got 2 sick manga books from right here. I got the Star Wars Guardian of the Whills manga, which looks awesome, and the Star Wars Visions. I'm looking forward to taking these downstairs and putting them by the bed. so that I can read them at night because they look sick. I also got my Star Wars Blueprints book. It's weird. It kind of feels like it's been opened. You know, that's a callback.
Well, it is vintage. It is vintage.
Oh, okay.
It was already opened when or should we say used when I bought it from a particular it was one of the toy fairs that I went to with Kevin Chris.
I hope Chris Hall appreciates that callback. I've been holding on to that joke. Been holding on to that one for a while. Probably one of my favorite things is the Where's the Wookiee book. As everybody may or may not know, they I do love a Where's Waldo find, kind of like brain tickling, find the thing in the giant artwork. I just think it's fascinating the way they draw those. So there's that. I think I dropped some things. I think some things fell behind. Oh no, I got the turtle crawler. He's up there. He's attached to my shelf, so I'm not going to say to get that. I got some Lego little that look like advent calendar starships. I got a bomber, and is it the Bad Batch ship?
What, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the ship that they have. It was what?
His name.
It turned up in a I don't know. It turned up with something that I bought, and I thought, well, these are loose, and the bag had split. So I thought, well, let me build them and pack them with the stuff so that you can kind of at least know that they're in one piece.
Yeah, and they're back there on the shelf back there with my other big TIE bomber. It's down below. Baby bomber's down there. And then the last thing is the Obi-Wan Kenobi Lola bot that I'm going to get motivated, and I'm gonna weather that like you requested.
Well, I saw. I mean, again, I saw. I bought myself one as well, and I follow a particular creator or artist on YouTube, and he weathered it, and it looked mint. It looked really, really good. And I thought, I know someone that can have a play with this and
challenge accepted.
Make something from it.
I'm not going to look up that YouTube video, whoever it is, and because I don't want to get. I'll do my own ideas, and then we can compare. Challenge accepted. Yeah, dude. So thank you. That was awesome. There could be
no worries, man. No worries.
As you can tell, my office is a bit of a disaster. So I'm like looking around, like I think that was everything. If there was something else, I apologize. It's probably on a shelf or on a box somewhere. But yeah, so there was that. Outside of that, dude, I finally hung.
Sorry, and the manga was again, it was one of those things that you and I appreciate Star Wars manga. Mm-hmm. We both really like the manga take on Lost Stars.
Oh,
and
yes.
as a result of that, I've kind of been collecting the Star Wars manga since then, such as Princess of Alderaan, all that kind of stuff. And so when I came to buying these, I bought two because I thought, hey, it's my little I guess it's my little Japanese themed present to Sean, bearing in mind I'm not going to be seeing him in Tokyo. So that's the reason for.
No, I love it, dude. They're awesome. Like I have the Lost Stars, and this will go nicely with those. But after I read them, I'm not going to put them up here. I'll take them downstairs.
Wicked, cool.
But besides that, dude, I've been busy. Obviously, like what we just talked about, like things just keep coming up. Trying to plan trips trying to plan the Japan one. Because we've been swamped, so we're like, we haven't really. I think it's gonna be kind of not doing like the big stuff since we haven't really booked it yet, and so we actually might be adjusting the schedule because Madison might be going to a conference now beforehand, and so down the south side of Japan and trying to get her work to pay for it, but it's not gonna happen. But we'll see. Last night, this is relevant to Japan. I'm still debating it. I'm like, maybe I just cancel the Japan trip and use that money for something different. And I'm going to send you what triggered this. I just sent you a picture on Discord, and this thing almost had me on the edges of like, well, I mean, we don't really need to do Japan.
What the fuck is that?
That is at Costco. That is a indoor 2-person sauna that you can put anywhere in your house, and it's got a Bluetooth speaker built inside. So yeah, it's just an indoor sauna. And I'm like, Madison's like, we can't afford that. I'm like, if I cancel Japan, I can.
It's very compelling. But we've got to post that photograph. Your face, you've got a deadpan face of this dude sitting in this sauna.
That is me figuring out how like I can make this work financially. That is dead eyes. I am like, I can come up with this money. I can make this work.
Holy shit, that's funny. That's really funny. Well, what can I say? It's very compelling. Very, very compelling.
Yeah. I mean, Scott, who doesn't want a sauna you can put anywhere in your home? It doesn't hook up to anything. I could just put it in the middle of the living room. Like, who cares? That'd be sick. I did just reorganize the craft room, like this ugly red room we have. We call it the gear room. I just got done redoing that. I put my my giant Mondo, is it Mondo? The posters, my giant turtle picture in there. Those things are so big. Those things are so huge, but that's the only place in the house I had room for it, so I put it in there. Besides like the bedroom, but I don't think Madison's gonna let me put a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles poster in the bedroom.
Is it mounted now? Is it a frame?
I framed it, yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's gonna be that's a big piece of art.
Yeah, it's huge. I'm like, oh, cool. It's gonna be a poster. And then I get it, and it's like, this is like a movie poster that like you see at the movie theater. Like this thing is ridiculous. But I love it. It's awesome. It's so nice. Not talking bad about it. It's pretty cool. Outside of that, I've just been catching up, trying to, like we were gone for a couple weeks, and so you come back home and it's like, oh, there's all the things that I didn't do before we left. And now time is of the essence. So I've been doing all that. But I also caught up with some news and some content, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes down to news, and I'll go first because I didn't pick up too much. There's a couple of things that I found really interesting. The first was Harrison Ford was on a press junket. He was on the press junket for Captain America.
Yeah.
And he was asked about he was actually asked about and he had an interview with the Wall Street Journal. And the long and the short of it is that he was asked about the relative success or failure, in this case, failure of the latest indie film. And he kind of responded nonchalantly, as you'd expect, as the guy does, in that, you know, he kind of I wouldn't say defended it, but he was kind of like, well, okay, it didn't land, but I want to do it. So it kind of it's quite an interesting read, actually, or a couple. It's an interesting interview anyway, but it's interesting that the guy who typically isn't known for defending his work, he kind of takes the money and runs. He was very much into into making the movie, and is still very, very proud of the movie itself, and had no qualms about defending it, which I thought was kind of cool.
He also, I thought it was cool because he was like, he almost had a mentality of like, I mean, I don't really care because I enjoyed it. Like, it's not even the fact that he wanted to do it. It's like, he's like, I thought there was a story to tell, and so I wanted to do it, and I'm happy with the outcome. And I enjoyed it. I think my takeaway from it is not that it was a bad movie. I think it's hard to do a modern Indiana Jones movie without a complete reboot. Like, you could do an archaeological Lara Croft kind of Tomb Raider-y movie. I just think it's like a modern James Bond. Like, without completely changing the formula, I think it's almost impossible to do a modern Indiana Jones. Because modern it's boring for most audiences, or weird. Like, I don't know.
I think it suffers from the same syndrome that Pirates did as well. In
Yeah.
that the original trilogy was tied up so nicely with a bow on
Mhm.
top that anything subsequent seems kind of somewhat ancillary as well. Again, like suffers from the Pirates franchise has suffered from the same thing.
Yeah.
When the story is told so eloquently, anything subsequent to that kind of is somewhat jarring. So yeah, I agree, and it's very, very hard to kind of continue a story that's already been told. The next thing I saw, and I think it was actually part of the Super Bowl trailers, but I saw it independently, was the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer. And I don't know if you saw the trailer.
I
It
did.
looks good. It looks good. Am I excited about it? I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. Nothing really blew my mind, and I'm sure it's not meant to. I'm sure they'll keep the surprises actually in the film itself. But yeah, nothing particularly blew my mind watching the trailer. But hey, it's a Jurassic Park film. We love
Well,
dinosaurs in this house. We'll go and see it.
yeah, that's my note for Jurassic World Rebirth is meh. Like, I do enjoy the Jurassic Park movies. I love kaiju movies. I love big monsters against people
Yeah.
and monsters against monsters. I'll be on. Like, am I excited? No. Will I watch it? Absolutely. When will I watch it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I will be honest. The only reason that this announcement didn't go through one ear and out the other is because Scarlett Johansson's in it. I'll be completely honest. It's like,
Yeah.
how, like, in that first thought of how the heck did they get Scarlett Johansson for another Jurassic World reboot-ish kind of movie? And so then I watched the trailer. I'm like, okay, like, am I going to complain that it's formulaic? No, because I enjoy we go somewhere we shouldn't be. Why is there a kid? Oh my God, the monsters. There's a bigger monster and a heroic monster saves the day. Do I care? No, I love that. Love that formula. Is it something I'm like, man, I can't wait for them to expand the Jurassic Park canon? Not really. Like, did we need this? No, but I'll watch it. I think it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what they do. Like, how ridiculous is it going to get? Because I do love the Kong movies. I love the Godzilla movies. I feel like it's turning more into that, like the modern Kong versus Godzilla kind of things. Like,
yeah. Well, Gareth's directing it, isn't he? Gareth Edwards.
I mean, yeah, and that's hit or miss. I mean, I like it. I like his stuff. I do see a lot of people hanging a lot of hope on that. I'm like, it's still a Jurassic World movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're not going to get major political commentary.
Yeah, you're somewhat restricted in what you can and can't do, I guess.
Yeah. Daddy's got to eat at the end of the day, and he's gonna make that money doing Jurassic World. So
yeah. And then the Super Bowl trailers, I picked up on that. And I did see, I did with obviously Rebirth was in that list, but I
let's
picked
step
up
through the
on
rest. What else we get?
well, I got the final Mission Impossible. That was shown. How to Train Your Dragon, and I want to talk about that in a second. And the Thunderbolts, the updated Thunderbolts trailer.
Let's do them one at a time. What'd you think of Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible is hard for me to get excited about because I'm not a Mission Impossible aficionado at all.
Yeah.
I will watch it. They're fun. They're enjoyable. They're complete. They're complete nonsense, which I like, which I love. I can switch my brain off. I see them very much as I saw the Bourne series, or should we say the latter James Bond films in that I have a vested interest, not particularly, but will I watch
Yeah.
it because it's mindless fun? Yes, I will. Any opportunity to watch our friend Tom Cruise try and kill himself in the most spectacular way, I'm up for it. The Thunderbolts.
Hold on. We're
Oh,
not.
sorry,
You just don't get to. You don't just get to jump your
No,
trailers.
dude, I'm sorry. I'm ever sorry. What about your take? Sorry, man.
I should have waited because it's like I didn't watch the trailer.
Shit, man.
That's the only one I haven't watched because I think in a similar vein, it's like I'm not a Mission Impossible aficionado, and every time I see those trailers, I'm like, I'm like 4 movies behind. I think I don't know how
Right.
many there are, but I'm just gonna say 4. Like I haven't seen all of them, so it's like, oh, the final one's coming out, and I'm like, I think I've seen 3 of them. I
Right.
have it on my watch list to watch the other 19. But I need to watch it. But I think it's cool. Good for him. Get that money. Cool. Like more big movies in the theaters. Thanks. I'm a big fan of that. But anyways, sorry. Go ahead. Next one, Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolts. I am excited about. It's my interest in Marvel, as you know, in recent months and should we say years, has somewhat dwindled. And I've got an awful lot of catching up to do. Thunderbolts might be that movie that gets me back into it. In that I love the players. I like the concept. I love the idea of it being an MCU version of if you like of the Suicide Squad. And the way that they're nowhere near as able. They don't have the ability of the Avengers, but they're kind of being perceived as humanity's last hope when it comes down
Less
to this
fantastical.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good fun. It should be really, really good fun. And that may get me back. That may get me in the cinema again for a new Marvel film, which I haven't done for quite a while, as you know. What about yourself?
I am very excited for this film.
No, cool.
The jury, mainly because the jury is still out on whether Bucky, the Winter Soldier, is my spirit animal or just a dude crush that like I will watch any movie and have it be near the top of my Marvel food chain if Bucky is in it. And if he's a central character, and he seems to kind of be like the lead or like the main powerful dude in this one. So, dude, yeah, I will see this. Very excited. I haven't read too much on it, and I don't know who the villain is, but I'm excited to find out. Like that trailer was spooky. How he's just making people like poof, like turning them into shadows or whatever it was. That was weird. That was cool. I'm excited.
Very nice, very nice. How to Train Your Dragon. It looks so. This is the live action version of the original movie. Of the original animated movie. I mean, frame for frame, it looks identical. Looks absolutely identical. Is there a lot? There is some criticism of the general process of creating live action versions of existing Disney properties, but How to Train Your Dragon. Yes, or DreamWorks. That would help. But the point being is, I mean, Disney's been doing it up until now. And DreamWorks are kind of jumping in with How to Train Your Dragon, but I don't care. How to Train Your Dragon is still one of my favorite animated properties. Without a doubt, I love the story. It looks amazing. It looks beautiful. And I am not going to criticize the I'm not going to criticize it. I'm not. I'm looking forward to it. It's a reason for me to go to the cinema, and I will be going to the cinema for this
Nice. That's awesome.
with my daughter, because that is Abby's favorite animated franchise, bar none. That is her most favorite. So we'll be going.
For me, it's like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, I really enjoyed those movies. I think they're fantastically done. And like, when I first heard the word about it, it's like, why are they turning it around so quickly into making it live action? Like, I'm not, like, I don't want this to sound like I'm coming across like negatively. It's more like, this is one of those instances where I keep getting hung up on the, like, what was it like to be in the room where this was decided? Like, what was what's the rationale behind it? Like, it's going to be great. It's going to make a shit ton of money. Like, I'm going to enjoy it. It is fascinating to me that the trailer looks like, dude, it looks, I don't want to say the same, but it's like, it almost seems shot for shot. Like, it almost, like, I know one's animated, one's this, but like, the dragons aren't real, clearly, but it's like, it looks so close to the original. It's like, I feel like they're doing almost a shot for shot. They're not going to stray at all. Like some of the Disney ones, they'll be like, we're going to get rid of the music. This one's like, no, we're going to do this right kind of spiral. I'm like, is it because they're doing the new lands and like the Universal Studios, and they want to have like walk around characters, and they want it to be more real instead of cartoonish, and like, and they know it's going to make money, and like, and they want to do it faithfully, and like, there's good reasons and also business reasons, but like, am I going to see day one? I don't know, probably not, but I am going to see it. I am excited for it. It's just I keep getting in that, like, why? Not a negative why. It's more of just like how did this get done? It's interesting. I'm curious. Are they going to do all of them? Are they just going to do this one? Will they stray at all, or is it going to be shot for shot? I don't know. It's interesting. It looks cool. Looks nice. Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if they could, if they could scatter in a little bit of new stuff in there, or a little bit, make something a little bit more. But I mean, the great thing about animation is that you can do anything with it. It's kind of like, it's so fantastical that kind of it becomes almost impossible. And it'd be good but it'd be good to maybe, I don't know, sprinkle on something that is a little bit different within the live action version. But I'm up for it. I'm totally up for it. So I really can't criticize it at all.
Yeah.
And the last one I picked up on, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff as well. There's F1 with Brad Pitt. There's another couple of trailers that I kind of very much skip past. But the last one was the live action Lilo and Stitch. And while they didn't show it with a trailer, it was kind of like augmented reality gimmick that they did with Stitch being running across the football ground and just making getting himself into trouble and causing chaos, and that was basically the advertisement for the live action Lilo and Stitch movie that's also coming out in the summer. So the whole thing seemed to be very much focused on the summer because obviously, as we all know, the box office is not doing well at all. And so I guess all of the studios are betting large on the summer to kind of rescue their revenues from the first part of this year. But yeah, no, all in all, it was nothing blew my mind, but it was there's a good lineup of films that I'm really interested in watching.
So to round that out, the Stitch one, Lilo and Stitch, is something we will go see probably day one. But I think Lilo and Stitch is probably one of her top ones, and I think by proxy that's made it one of mine. Like, she is like Lilo, like her, like if you mixed like her, like Lilo with Meg from Hercules. Like that is like who she is. I'm cautiously apprehensive or cautiously optimistic. It's like it's one of those ones, and I'm curious to how they're going to market it, because I'm almost wondering if they're not going to do a full blown trailer where it like shows everybody, like they're just like you know who Stitch is, you know the movie, just Stitch is crazy, go watch it, and then they like to maybe prevent some of the backlash, because that's inevitably going to come from this film. But I'm excited to see it. I think it'll be interesting to see it. Does it need it? No, but do I? Like, similar to the Little Mermaid, which was my jam growing up, like cautiously optimistic when it came out. And it's like, I liked it. I like Little Mermaid. I liked it. Is it my Little Mermaid? Like, I will still be able to recite the cartoon version. Do I enjoy this one? Absolutely. It's fantastic too. Hopefully this is the same with Lilo and Stitch. It's like, is it carry the memories that the cartoon does? No, but is it a faithful representation? Hopefully. That'd be cool. If not, hopefully that's something. It'll be neat. I did watch a couple other trailers that I'd love to.
Over to you, dude.
One of them was The Studio. I don't know if you saw that with Seth Rogen, where he stars as he's a head of a movie studio, and he's got to he's like. I'll just read the thing. It's like, in the studio, Rogen stars as a newly appointed head of a movie studio, Continental Studios. Desperate for the approval of celebrities, he and his team of executives at Continental Studios must juggle corporate demands with creative ambitions as they try to keep movies alive and relevant. I think this is going to be interesting, because obviously it's going to be like those kinds of comedies, but it's also, I think it's maybe hopefully going to poke at Hollywood and some of the current events in a fun way. I thought it looked well produced. It's got a crazy cast. I thought it looked interesting. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it, though.
I did not. Like I said, I skipped through the ones that I either didn't know or had no interest in. That sounds good.
All right. The next one that I watched was not normally one that I would watch, but it looks interesting. I will not see it in theaters. I just won't, but I will watch it on streaming. And that was Until Dawn, which my notes are, it looks creepy as fuck, and it looks like a bunch of different horror genres mixed together. Where it's like, oh, we go to the haunted place. It's like the trailer was like, oh, we're looking for my sister. It's a bunch of college kids or teenagers, whatever age they are. We're looking for my sister, and she got lost. Oh, we go into this haunted house, and then next thing you know, like the trailer shows them all getting killed. That's like, oh, I guess that's spoiler. But then it's like, oh. That like rewinds time and they're all alive again, and they have like 13 tries to like not get killed, and otherwise I think they're just dead forever. So it's like rewinding time, they kill them again, and it's like then I think they have to make it until dawn. It's like, ooh, this is a fun little trope of like the horror genre mixed with like, you don't just die, you get to come back. We get to see a lot of horror things, but then like there's a new, like it's kind of like the movie 13 Ghosts. Like that's one of my favorite like horror-ish films. It's like I just like the idea of this glass house and all these monsters in there, and I don't know, it's just turning the kind of genre on it to like twist it a little bit. I don't know. I think I don't look interesting. I will not see it in theaters.
Okay, that's very cool. Very cool indeed.
The final trailer that I saw is one that I am ashamed to admit that I'm excited about. I've asked for this reboot for a while, or I don't know, reboot, whatever it is. And that is the Final Destination Bloodlines trailer.
No.
No, dude. Yes. Oh yeah. Will I see it in theaters? Probably not. If I do, it'll be like matinee during the week, just so I could be the only person in there laughing. I love those movies. I haven't seen a modern one, so they may go too far with it, but like the classics, they're some of my favorites. A whole generation of kids no longer drives behind log trucks, which is, as a matter of fact, quite frequent out here in Tahoe. Every time I see one, I'm like, they should really remake a Final Destination, and they should remake, then that gets me going on, they should remake Twisted Metal, the video game. But I'm excited for this. The trailer was dead simple. It just like is set up the same stupid, like here's a death scene. It's like, here's all the goofy things. Like, oh, what's it going to be? Is it going to be the glass? Is it going to be an explosion? Or what convoluted way of like doing the deed is going to do it? Like, and the whole trailer is just like one snippet of that. I'm like, yes, it's boiled down to like what Final Destination is and what makes it good. And I am excited for this stupid franchise to come back.
Excellent. I'm very happy for you.
It's not my Wicked. I'm not gonna die on that hill and make everybody watch it like I do Wicked. But
no.
Do you have any other news, or do you want me to? Oh, I did.
No. You muse away, dude. That's all I picked up this week.
So I made sure to, I've been embarrassing the last couple of weeks of like not come up with any news. So this week I just outdid myself. The one thing that I knew existed, but I didn't like watch the trailer or anything about it. And I think it's actually starting this week, plus or minus a week or month. I don't know. And that is and I watched the trailer for it. It's the Stranger Things on Broadway, The First Shadow. I don't know if you've seen that whole thing yet.
I haven't. I've seen it. I've seen the when I've spent some time in London in recent months, I've seen obviously at the West End the advertising for the show. But carry on.
It looks kind of cool. It looks like it's a Henry Creel Vecna prequel kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just the special effects look cool. I don't know, just like adapting that stuff to like stage, I think is very interesting. Hopefully they film it and they put it on like a streaming service at some point on Netflix or whatever, like they did with like Hamilton. It's like for the people who can't see it, like don't have that opportunity to go see stuff. Like, I don't know, that'd be cool if they filmed it at some point and made it available.
That was wicked. That was wicked. Sorry, silly expression, but that was great. That was great when Disney Plus did that. It was right at the height of COVID, wasn't it? And they decided to release it on Disney Plus so that we could all, because no one was going to the theaters.
I think that made it the cultural phenomenon that it was. It's like it gave access to everybody, and then it just took over. It's like,
that was great. But no, if you go back to Stranger Things, I would love to. One thing that I would love to take the families to go and see that. Stranger Things is one of those franchises where we come together as a family, and Lucy and I enjoy the kind of the nostalgia side of things, and the girls kind of get tied up in the kind of the friendship side of things of the kids and their development, and so we kind of come together as a family on that. So I'd love to go and see the stage show. It looks really cool.
Speaking of Stranger Things, have you ever done a rewatch on it? Have you ever attempted a rewatch on it?
No.
So Madison's never seen it. She's only seen the first episode. But then when a friend of ours was here a couple months ago, they wanted to get Madison into it to prep for the final season. And so we watched maybe the first 2 episodes. And by the end of it, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can do a full... Like, I love that show. I think it's fantastic. And I'm excited for the final season. I don't know if I can do a rewatch of like all of that stuff over again. Like, there's just like an element of like, oh, that first season is very different than where they are now. Like, it's just the whole tone has changed. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just where I'm at personally. I'm like, I just cannot do, like, I got to the end of the second episode, like, I think where Barb disappears. And it's like, dude, I don't know if I can do a rewatch of this. We may just have to not loop Madison back in on this and be like, nah, I'll just finish the final season and be done with it. But I don't know. I don't know if other people felt that way as well, being like, ooh, I don't know if this is like a rewatchable, bingeable as much as like Skeleton Crew or other things are.
Is it just heavy going? Is it
I think it's
sorry, go on.
compared to the newer season, it is just slow. Like, not that I have somewhere to be, but it's like I think when I'm watching it, I just feel the weight of everything else to come. Like, not like the
Right.
darkness of it. It's just like, oh yeah, there's so much that happens later on that like, oh man, I don't know if I just want to take the time to sit and like kind of slog through the first season, and then like it
Yeah.
definitely ramps up and gets more. It's just a different show tonally in the end than it is in the beginning.
Right. I got it. Okay.
I don't know. I'm still processing what my thoughts are on that, but it's like I swiftly went, I don't think I want to watch any more of these for a while.
Well, it could be the way I feel. I mean, it sounds similar to the way I feel about Breaking Bad. I tried to rewatch that, and I kind of gave up because, to your point, there's a lot to get through, a lot to process, a lot of development that in my brain I'm kind of already there. I'm already, I already know what's happened, and so therefore there's an awful lot of narrative, there's an awful lot of exposition and stuff that goes on, but I kind of need to wait and get to experience that before you move on to the juicy stuff. So I get where you're at. I get where you're at, mate. It's no big deal at all. Anything else?
Cool. I did. There's a couple quick things. Hot on the heels of us talking about the Disney stuff at the Disney parks. The Summer of the Force at Disneyland was announced. There's only couple things I want to talk about in there relevant to last week. Just talking about kind of the continued adaptation of Batu and things like that. Summer of the Force is like when they do like the Star Wars summer event things where they bring in like new overlays on rides, new food, new drinks, new merch, stupid popcorn buckets that I'm not going to go down. I'm not going to start a tirade on why I think those popcorn buckets are dumb. But they're introducing like a new themed fireworks show in Batu. They have been doing a night projection thing where they're projecting Star Wars stuff on the rocks. But the thing I think is most interesting is they're going to have a Luke Skywalker walk around character, looks like in the black robes with R2-D2, like younger version, like Return of the Jedi looking version. And so it's like, we were talking about escaping that timeline and the things they're continuing to do to kind of like move away from like, oh, we're Rise of Skywalker, right before Rise of Skywalker. More kind of examples of breaking down that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already had Sabine and other people walking around, but this seems like a pretty big hard kick in the other direction. It's like, no, we're going back to original trilogy style characters.
Yeah.
And so I think that's interesting.
Well, that's very cool. It's very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's I'm still fascinated with, or still curious as to how they're gonna sustain it, and I guess something like that is a good idea. I mean, it somewhat breaks the immersion, in my mind, but I guess it turns it more into a theme park. You know, it kind of it turns it more into a spectacular for the fans, for the audience. It's interesting.
A dip in the universe, like a dip in the universe, and experiencing Star Wars in real life, and not I am in a place and time and I'm limited by that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, cool. Very interesting.
The final two things I have, quick ones. Mainly that I'm excited about. I'm not trying to become a Star Wars news podcast, but they did announce that Bad Batch book that comes out in August. Sanctuary. I think I'm very excited about that. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah.
It's like they're rebuilding that island, that refuge island thing that they were on. So tech is still around. So it's gonna be cool. It'd be nice to have some more stories in that time frame. It's kind of neat. And then they also announced a new manga book, Path of the Lightsaber, which is set between the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker. I think coming out in 2025.
I did not. So it's coming out this year,
according to their articles. So
excellent.
Take that for what it is. Yes.
Well, that will be a purchase because I don't. I'm very much behind on the books. I'm very much behind on the comics, but the manga, simply for being manga, that will definitely be a purchase.
pictures are pretty, fewer words. I means I can read it quicker. So
Yeah,
and it looks
exactly.
so me like. But that's the
Excellent.
news I have. That's my news.
That's a lot. That's a heck of a lot. No, that's fantastic. What about what you've been consuming this week? If at all. I mean, you've literally just got back from a whistle, from quite an extensive tour um, of the East Coast. East Coast, yeah, East Coast.
Eastish, Midwest. I don't know why it's called that, but Midwest, yeah, East,
Midwest.
Eastish. Yeah.
And so, have you had an opportunity to check anything out?
I have not a lot, not as much as I'd hoped, not as much as I'd promised, but I will
Right.
for next week though. It was queued up today, but then I got stuck cleaning the house. But I did catch up on a lot of our friends' podcasts, including some excellent episodes of that Geek Pod and Star Wars Spelt Out with our buddy Andy Bell on them. I thought he did a great job, and they were awesome.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I wanted to give you the old pat on the back and say, good job, dude. You brought something to the table. Not that you don't normally, but good job. I liked it. I enjoyed those episodes.
Thank you.
I've also watched some things. So one thing, I also read an article recently what I watched. I was reading an article about somebody that was hired or promoted within Lucasfilm. Derek Hoffman is his name. I can't remember what his role is because I didn't pay attention to the role. I just like, oh, he's got the same last name as me and he works pretty high up at Lucasfilm. I wonder if I'm related. And then part of the article said he went to Indiana University. He graduated from Indiana University. Went, oh, shit. Holy shit. Am I actually related to this guy? So when I was back in Indiana for all the family stuff, I was obnoxious to all of my extended family members being like, hey, does anybody got a family? Are we related to a Derek Hoffman by chance? Maybe around this age? Anybody know? I didn't get any conclusive answers. I don't think I am, but the hunt is still on for answers. Because
I don't believe in coincidences, man. You gotta hunt down. I don't believe in. Do that.
Not looking for scoops, but I'm looking for connections in some way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's that. I did watch some things. I watched two things. One of them was a movie that I have had on my list for a while. I don't remember why it was on my list. There was somebody I knew who talked about it in connection to it, but then I watched it and went, I don't know I don't remember what the connection was at all. And that movie was called Flamin' Hot. I watched it on the airplane. And it is, it's not a documentary, but it's like the story of the guy who came up with the Flamin' Hot Doritos flavor for Frito-Lay and like his kind of like backstory and how it came to be. It's a silly premise, but it's a very kind of like silly movie. Like it's got a lot of humor baked into it, but it was really like hope core. I don't know if you're familiar with the term where it's like, oh, hope core. It's like, oh, it's all feel good stuff. Like you watch it up on the internet. I'm gonna watch. It's like a feel good movie of like, oh, where I came from, what my upbringing was, my like the nobody kind of feeling and like supporting their people and having an idea and like it's a if you're into that kind of movie of like a non-literal take of like historical events, but then also like mixed with like a very funny character and just, I don't know. It was really good. Like I really enjoyed it. It was very funny. Just the way they showed like the PepsiCo CEO interacting with like a janitor and just the kind of humorous back and forth. Like, and then he's like, oh, that's not really what happened. It actually went this way. Then they'd show like the real, I don't know. It's funny.
Excellent.
Recommend it. Don't pay $20 to rent it and be like, that wasn't worth it. But if you have the opportunity to watch it, I thought it was pretty good.
Excellent.
So yeah. And the final thing I watched, but we can save it if you want, and that was the 4th episode of season 2 of Severance, called Woe's Hollow. We can save that for after you talk about your stuff, or
let's save that. No, let's talk about it now. Sorry, let's talk about it now.
Yeah.
Man, you watched it before. You watched it before me. I, 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 you watched it before me, and I think you sent me a GIF, basically of what the heck is going on here. Why don't you tell our friends what the premise of episode 4 was? Because I am so confused.
I mean, you might as well be asking me what the meaning to life is, but I will try my best. So spoilers, I think, maybe, who knows, because up is down and down is up. The 4th episode, Woe's Hollow, immediately started like they're all outside. They're all outside in the snow and what appears to be borderline Lake Tahoe. But they're all separate, and then they meet up, and it's like a field trip, from what they've said. So they all find each other. It looks like it's the lake.
It's like a corporate bonding, a team bonding,
like an
exercise,
offsite.
Yeah.
Like an offsite, but it looks like it's that same lake that's in like all the Egan photo paintings, where like he's standing on the cliff and like looking out over this magnificent landscape. But it's all frozen over, and they find each other, and then like they find oh my gosh, what's his name? Their manager. They find him, and he's like, "Welcome to the offsite. Welcome to the retreat. You get to have 2 or 3 days doing some team bonding and like this weird and like walking around nature, doing these things where like it kind of still has those religious vibes of like, this is where the main Egan guy who founded the company, he had a twin brother, but he did the stuff, and then like he died and turned into like the nature ground. There's like a bleeding tree or something weird, and all this weird kind of like metaphorical religious undertone storylines. And oh my gosh, I should have written down their names. Like the older gentleman who's going after Bert, he's you can kind of see that he's like in a bad mood. Like there's something, he's not feeling it, and he's very critical of Helly. There's Helly Dillon, Devin, Irving's very like kind of confrontational with Helly, being like, what is it like? And it feels weird. It feels like he's like in the wrong. It's like, why is he being such a jerk? Like, he doesn't believe her. Like when she was out when she went back to her Audi's place, he's like, why are you lying? Yada, yada, yada. And he's just kind of being a big jerk. And so then like he goes off, and I thought he died. Because he like wandered off into the woods in the middle of the night and like fell asleep. I'm pretty sure close to that like dead seal thing, that dead frozen seal. And then he had like a dream where Bert was there, and then like blah, 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 whatever. Mark hooks up with Heliar in the tent, but then the next morning happens and they all come back, and like Irving's like, Heliar, it's not her any, it's actually her Audi who's here. And he tries to drown her, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And then it was her Audi, and then the manager guy like stopped it, and like it seems like Irving just got fired. Which in theory would kill Irving's innie. I don't think he's dead. I think at some point in time he's gonna get to resurface in some way. Come back in some way. But it's like this episode was so out of left field, no explanation, like really kind of the thing that I don't like at times, where it's like, ha, no context, here's a cliffhanger, you gotta wait another week, idiot. Because it gave us nothing. Like, it felt weird, especially coming from like Mark leaving off with the reintegration surgery that he was at the end of episode 3. Like, and then going into this, and then we like hooking up with Helly, like having the flashback, like the flippy floppies with his wife. I'm like, dude, this is it's very Lost, like the TV show. Like, where's my smoke monster? Where's the countdown timer?
Well, there's no baseline at the moment. Do you understand what I mean by that? There's no safe retreat.
No.
There's no. It's they go looking. They go looking for. They go looking for what's her name? Basically, his wife. What's she called?
What is her name? Miss.
Yeah, I'm
I
trying
should
to find it. They're trying. Anyway, they're trying to go for. They're trying to find his wife, and in previous weeks, and they find their way to the goat
Miss
breeding
Casey.
team. Miss Casey, thank you.
And Milchick. Milchick is the manager's name. There it is.
And that didn't have a baseline either. It kind of didn't conclude anything. And then you've got like I said, like you said, the team building exercise this week, which turned chaotic, and there's no baseline. It's kind of like, where are we going? Because I don't know where we're going. Sean, help me. That's all I kept thinking of was Sean, help me, because I'm so confused.
It was one of those episodes where you watch it and you're like, wait, am I not actually caught up to date? Did I miss the previous episode? It's like, or were there 10 episodes and they're like, we can only pay for 9. It's like, all right, we'll get rid of episode 4 and move 5 to 4. And but then I know in like 6 weeks when the whole thing is over, it's gonna be like, oh, it all makes sense. Like this week,
for sure.
I'm hopeful and optimistic that this week gives us some tie up from 3 and 4, and it happens in 5, and there's more, like he goes back to being an Audi again. Because like the first 2 episodes are that way. And I remember last week saying, or 2 weeks ago saying, it's like, oh, I'm glad I skipped the first week and watched 1 and 2 together. Because I would have been like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
But they keep doing this kind of like any episode, Audi episode, any episode, Audi episode, and kind of like, this was like the weird any one where it's like, well, we didn't get the follow-up from 3 where he's blinding himself and then gets the crazy reintegration surgery. Now we're like, my question is like, were they really outside? Like, is that real? Is that a real place?
Yeah.
Or is it an underground floor? Like, is it fake? Are they in a virtual, like, it's all part of that. Like, what is Mark's purpose? What is like real Innie versus Audi? Like, is this town even real, or is it like Castle Rock?
Yeah.
Kind of like Stephen King-y, kind of like, ooh. Because you don't really see them in public places very often. Like, are they all actually is there truly an Innie versus Audi situation, or are they all within the confines of like Truman Show level, Egan, whatever?
I've always thought, is there another level? So it's similar to I guess similar to Inception.
Inception? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always wondered, we've got these 2 levels, which is Innie and Audi. So the Innie, both know of each other's existence, but never the twain shall meet. Is there another level as well? Is there another level below or above the Audi and the Innie that we don't know about, that we're going to be surprised about, which serves a different purpose?
I've never considered that, but that's wild.
Who knows? Well, the reason why I think that is that you'd think that when you're in the real world, in the normal world, which let's for the sake of argument, let's call that the outy world. There seems to be it's still quite surreal. It still doesn't feel particularly real.
Have you seen the movie Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, where it's like we're only in certain locations, and it always seems very much like a painting, even when he's in the Audi world.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so that's the only reason why I thought maybe there's a level above the outie world that is what you and I would say normal life. That is the true, the real world. Because when you consider Helly's family, and the way that they conduct, and her father, and the way that they conduct themselves in the real world, it seems to be, again, quite strange, quite surreal. That there's something. It doesn't seem normal. It doesn't seem normal one
yeah,
bit. So anyway,
I
keep
like
put put a
you
pin in
have
that.
me very excited. You have me very excited
Oh,
that
cool.
if they were to because I hadn't thought about that before. They've had that like vibe of like the Audi world is weird, but if it's what you're saying, like, oh, the Audi world is still there does any level one, but there is
Yeah.
a real world outside of that. It's like, I like that a lot.
Excellent.
Thank
Cool.
if spicy.
It would turn things up a little bit, right? It would change an awful lot.
Oh yeah, it's like I will say I meant to mention this previous week. I'm like I do remember hearing. I feel like I remember hearing that they have an ending plans. Like they know
Right.
how they want this to go. I'm pretty sure. And so, but I do feel like we're at the point where we're not at the peak and we're not getting answers yet. We're still like it's going to get crazier before it gets better.
Do we
And I
know?
like
Do we
that. I
know?
like.
Do we know how many seasons it's going to run for?
I thought it was 3, but I could be making this all up in my head. I could have dreamed all of
Okay.
this.
Okay. Let's not worry about it. Anything else you've watched, mate?
No, but I think I did start Three Body Problem, but I didn't get the first episode finished. It's an hour, like an hour long. It was crazy long. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna get this done. But I will have episodes to talk about for next week. Even though we have special
actually
stuff
finished.
planned.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I actually finished Three Body Problem. It's one
Well,
of
maybe I'll
those.
smash through it.
It's one of the. Yeah. It's one of those. It's one of those. It it it, it it's very clever.
Mm.
Very clever. I like it. And I will not talk about it until you've seen it, because I think it deserves a discussion. Whether we get around to it next week or not is neither here nor there. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. We've got some plans for next week, folks. But I did burn all the way through it. That's the benefit of having so much time off at the moment, is that I'm able to kind of pick a franchise, burn through it as quickly as possible.
I'm about to say if we don't get more answers from Severance, if this week's episode of Severance is the same as this week's or past week's,
Yeah.
then I will definitely be burning through a lot of Three Body Problem, because I need something to talk about. I mean, I know we have special plans for next week, but even if it's not next week, like I want to get through Three Body Problem so we can chat about what's still fresh in your mind.
Yeah. So, on my side, I'll talk about what I've been watching first. So I did finish watching Three Body Problem. It's good. It's very, very good. The latter episodes left me wanting to talk to you about it, and I've written it. I've written the questions down so I don't forget. So I will put a pin in that, as I said, and we'll talk about that later. Still watching Severance, as you know. Got Black Sails on the it is actually on I've got it on Blu-ray, so that's still in the Xbox at the moment. So I'm gradually getting through Black Sails, Deadwood, and I need to catch up, as you know, on June, so that we can talk a little bit about how we felt about Dune prophecy. What I have done is, because I'm spending a lot of time at the moment at home with Lucy, is we've finally got around to our our TV. We've chosen our TV series, and we're burning through Yellowstone.
Nice.
So I've started season 1. I've never seen any of them. Not only the 5 seasons of Yellowstone as they are, but also the spin-offs with Harrison Ford and others. At the moment, we've just finished season 1. Hence, we really are getting through an awful lot of content at the moment. Just finished season 1. I see an awful lot of. I see a lot of reasons why people find the show compelling, but I'm not quite as in at the moment as perhaps I should be. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I'm not.
It does.
I'm not as vested at the moment as I thought I would be. So therefore, I'm reaching the conclusion that, get through season 1, get through season 2, and maybe I'm sure that the whole thing will grow on me. It's good. It's very, very good. It's beautifully acted. The story is great. Your heroes are most definitely anti-heroes. They're not particularly nice people. The Duttons. So that's kind of where we've started our watching. Reading. So when we have some quiet time and the TV is very much switched off, reading, I'm still going through some graphic novels that I bought over Christmas. At the moment, I'm burning through a few of the Firefly, the modern Firefly books, of which the latest one, titled The Sting, is written by Delilah. Is it
Dawson?
she's a Star Wars writer. So that was good to find out, and it's a great little read as well.
Nice.
Playing Mad Max and Hogwarts Legacy, little bit on the Steam Deck still, but listening, I've been catching up on. I've pretty much stayed abreast or caught up with all of our, let's say, our buddies podcasts. So Canto Bite Dispatch, Star Wars Spelt Out, The Sith List, Blue Harvest, etc. If I've missed anyone out, my apologies. But I have caught up on your pod. So I've caught up on all of our buddies' podcasts, which has given me the opportunity to kind of catch up on an awful lot of the more, shall we say, the more technical,
Periphery.
the more, the more. I don't want to say professional, because they're not, all of our friends are professional. But the more
High production value.
thank you. Podcasts that are out there. And one of them is Filmumentaries. So Filmumentaries is podcast run by a guy called Jaden Benning. And he really digs deep into the behind the scenes of an awful lot of films and pop culture, and the kind of stuff that you and I like. And his latest or one of his latest pods feature an interview with Gus Lopez, who is one of the
Ooh.
guys who is one of the guys that is investing in this new Saga museum. He's one of
No, not yet.
he's one of the guys that are lucky enough and have the disposable income to have some of the most amazing collections of Star Wars memorabilia, and is a contributor, or will be a contributor, to the Saga Museum. I've talked a little bit about it before with the different pod, but Jamie had the opportunity to interview him and get a really candid kind of view on where they are in terms of the Kickstarter, but also the where they are in terms of organizing and this thing, and they're talking to the local government institutions of many different cities across the US to establish what's the best place to kind of have this or build this museum, because it's going to require one heck of an investment. It's interesting. It's again, it's something that interests me, because I love the collecting side of things, especially when it comes down to props and collectibles. But also, I'm interested in the behind the scenes kind of orchestration of something as epic as or as grand as this. So that was good. That was really good. And that's kind of where I've been the last week on most things.
Did they have any breaking news or anything on like any developments, I guess, on the Saga Museum?
No, not really. They're kind of still where they are at the moment. Which is it's kind of they're still in this phase of
sussing it out.
Sussing it out. They know what they want, but they're trying to work out how they kind of execute. They're spending an awful lot of time at the moment investing in people, so they're kind of like using an awful lot of the investment that they're putting together to spend on developers, on planners, on lawyers, on folk that can help them realize their vision. So there's that side, but it's a good. I do recommend it. It's I would say that if you enjoy going rogue, then I would most definitely recommend the Film Inventories podcast. I mean, aside from that, he's got a whole collection of really good interviews with the likes of Phil Tippett and other filmmaking illumi that we know and love. Again,
interesting people who have interesting things to say that were.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Fans
I mean, absolutely, and but he doesn't restrict himself to Star Wars. He looks at other media as well. It's really good stuff. I got to know him because he ran one of the panels at Celebration London. He was fortunate enough to be invited by ILM to interview their team. John, an awful lot of folk that work for John Knoll on the special effects for Andor. So Catherine Nain, shout out to Catherine. She dragged me along to that particular session, and it was really good, really good, and really interesting. And the guy's interview technique is very good as well. So if you fancy something a little bit different, if you're interested in behind the scenes, I do recommend the Film Inventories podcast.
I will add that to my list.
And that's kind of it for me this week, buddy. I mean, it's we knew it was going to be a quiet week for news. We knew it was going to be we are in this situation at the moment where both content and news is somewhat is somewhat quiet. So to give our friends a heads up, we're going to try and we're going to spice it up a little bit next week. So watch this space for next week, because we are looking to do something a little bit different. Just because it is quiet, but we still want to talk. We still want to talk. We still want to reach out to you guys. So we're going to do something a little bit different, and we've got a couple of guests on next week who are gonna help us just have a little bit of fun. And it may or may not be the best, or indeed the worst idea that we've ever had. But we're hoping it's certainly going to be a lot of fun. So watch this space for next week. Sean, anything else you want to add, dude?
The only thing I have is that Pablo Hidalgo liked one of my Blue Sky posts, and so I just want to brag about that for about 4 seconds and be like, feel pretty special, feel pretty witnessed right now. So thank you. No signatures, please. Nothing.
You've been seen. That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Other than that, I'm looking forward to next week. I'm excited. I'm not that I'm not always excited, but I'm excited to see how this goes. It's gonna be fun.
Well, if it turns out, I mean, at the end of the day, we're in the period of, we're in a drought. We're in a drought at the moment. We saw it coming. We've been talking wax lyrical about what happens. What is the aftermath of the strike? What is the aftermath of all of these scheduling changes that have happened with the studios? And we are there at the moment. I feel very much that we are there. And so we need to, like everyone else, we need to diversify. We need to change it up a little bit to keep it fresh. And so we're going to have a little bit of fun next week, which hopefully, if it works, we can keep going, or try it again. Or if not, try something different. We shall see. Dude, it's going to be a quick one. So I'm going to say thank you for recording with me again, as always.
Likewise.
I love talking to you, whether it's an hour, whether it's an hour and a half, whether it's 2 hours, whether it's 3 hours. I love talking to you every week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoy our repertoire of just talking nonsense for an hour or so. And look after yourselves. And thank you for listening. Sean, take us out, dude.
Thank you, Andy. Likewise, I enjoy this. I need this as part of my week. And I hope that comes across for everybody who listens. We do really appreciate everybody who listens and taking the time to listen. If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Yeah. Don't forget to check out our website. Also, justchillin.com for more awesome content and ways to connect with us. I do think I have a little stockpile of Instagram photos I got to post, so you can check them out on there. Of some of the things we've been talking about, including that 2-person sauna that I'm still debating. I think I could have it delivered in a couple days. Ooh. Or if you have a 2-person sauna and you know what I'm talking about and you have one, tell me if it's worth it, because I'm kind of not infatuated with it. It's currently my hyperfixation. So yeah. I should have put that earlier and not at the end. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. May the force be with you.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great week. We'll talk to you same time next week. Bye.
Bye.